Good morning, everyone. My name is MIsaza, and today I'm here to introduce and hopefully invite everyone to my restaurant in Richmond Hill, Georgia, Savannah Spice, the soul of the Low Country. But today I'm not here just to promote my restaurant. I'm also here to promote women's history and the celebration of Women's History Month. Before I go into my agenda, I just want to mention that there's so many women who have shaped the fabric of today's life, and I'm not going to be able to mention all of them. But I'm going to touch on a few, and hopefully everyone will leave in here feeling a little bit better about women's history and understand that I'm trying to tell the history of women through food. Next slide, please. Here's my agenda. The history of a holiday, a few women that have paved the way for us. I'll talk briefly about coastal ingredients and where the Low Country is, what it means, a little bit about my food establishment, and we'll go over the Savannah Spice motto and slogan. Next slide, please. In the early 19th century, women were regarded as second-class citizens and were oftentimes confined to their homes, tending to their children. Women did not hold the rights to vote, sign contracts, collect wages, speak in public, or own property. And we'll talk a little bit about a few of the women who changed those unequal policies and procedures. Many events and remarkable women throughout history would change the role of women within our society. During our celebration at Savannah Spice, we would like to celebrate a few of the remarkable women that forever changed the value of women within our society. Next slide, please. Elizabeth Blackwell was the first woman to receive a medical degree in the United States in 1849. Blackwell went on to be a pioneer in educating women in medicine. During the Civil War, Elizabeth Blackwell helped organize the Women's Central Association of Relief, which selected and trained nurses to deal with war injuries. Obviously something that has impacted each of us. Look at the bottom of these slides, you'll see quotes that are these women have given. Next slide. Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery in 1820, and through her determination and conviction, she was able to escape the imprisonment of slavery. After her escape, she dedicated the next 10 years of her life leading hundreds of slaves to freedom along the Underground Railroad. Next, she went on to become a leader of the abolitionist movement. And during the Civil War, Harriet Tubman worked as a spy for federal forces in South Carolina, as well as a nurse and a cook. And actually, Harriet Tubman actually wrote Army cookbook as well. So if you're interested, it's something you could look up sometime, but it's pretty interesting. And you can tell the date on it by the products that are being used in her recipes. Next slide, please. Rosa Parks. Most of everyone here has heard of Rosa Parks and everything she's done. Many historians date the beginning of modern civil rights movement as 1 December 1955. This is the date that a courteous Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa Parks' historic decision started a movement to boycott the public bus system, and it worked. The boycott lasted 382 days. Rosa Parks went on to receive a Presidential Medal of Honor, as you were, Presidential Medal of Freedom, and Congressional Gold Medal. One thing you don't see on this slide is that Rosa Parks was also a fan of collard greens and hot dogs. And one of the menu items we chose to do today is collard green soup, relative to one of Miss Parks' likes. Next slide, please. Lieutenant Colonel Eileen Collins. In 1995, United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Eileen Collins was the first woman to ever pilot a space shuttle. That was the Space Shuttle Discovery. In 1999, Colonel Eileen Collins went on to become the first woman to command a space shuttle. Dreams do come true, Lieutenant Colonel Collins says. Next slide, please. In 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor became the first woman to be appointed Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. And I think the quote on the bottom of this slide is interesting. Like I mentioned, there's a few people that I think are certainly worth mentioning that I did not bring up in the slides. One being Shirley Chisholm, who was the first African American woman elected to Congress and was the first major party African American candidate for the President of the United States. Alice Paul was a woman suffragist largely responsible for gaining the right to vote through the 19th Amendment in 1920. And then Mother Teresa. There's a popular saying that you are what you eat, and perhaps this is true. Mother Teresa was a vegetarian and had to eat simple food every single day. She reminded people of a saint in her food habits. She only ate lentils and rice every day. The rice and lentils that she ate was the same quality that all her people ate. She did not ask or want any special treatment. Next slide, please. Like I said, we're the Savannah Spice Restaurant, the soul of the Low Country. And we'd like to honor the dedication and commitment made by remarkable women throughout history that paved the way for women in the future. Next slide, please. These are a few of the items, along with many others that are not listed, that we will be capturing this month during Women's History Month. Grilled tilapia with peach barbecue sauce, collard green soup. As I mentioned, the collard green soup is relative to Miss Rosa Parks' liking of collard greens. Next slide, please. Savannah rice, smoked chicken salad. Next slide, please. Shrimp and grits, and Savannah spiced tea. And rather than just talking about it and showing it in slides, we opted to prepare some of the items and make them available outside if anybody would like to sample any of these items after the briefing. Savannah spiced tea we did not make, but that is pretty simple. It's 5 ounces of lemonade and 5 ounces of sweet tea. And if you'd like to really spice it, you can add fresh mint or cinnamon. Next slide, please. This is our signature item, coastal shrimp and grits. And it's coastal because the peeled and deveined medium shrimp that we're using are homegrown. We got them locally. Stone ground grits, not the quick and easy, not the ones in the brown package. Not the ones that say 2 to 3 minutes. The ones that take you a little longer than that. Sharp cheddar cheese, garlic, onions, bacon, bell pepper, coastal spices, and lemon juice to taste. And that's how we do it. If you don't know, the Low Country is from about central South Carolina to around Brunswick, Georgia. And it's all along the East Coast. And it just means that there's a lot of ocean and a lot of marshland. So anytime you hear reference to the Low Country, that's what they're talking about. Low Country boil, Low Country recipes, Low Country this, Low Country that, Low Country beer. That's what they mean, Low Country. Next slide, please. This is our facility layout and a little bit of information about our business. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or would like to arrange to have a party or something that will require numerous tables. Next slide, please. And finally, in closing, I barely scratched the surface today. From Secretary Condoleezza Rice to Shirley Chisholm to Amelia Earhart, to my mother Debbie MIsaza and my wife Julie. Throughout history, women have shaped our future in so many positive ways. Do not forget your mothers and your grandmothers, and we invite you to spend an afternoon and evening with us at Savannah Spice to celebrate women's history. And with that, I'm available for questions.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
He did really good.
Did good. Yeah.